You know your grandma owned that shop?
Sure.
The shop I just showed you now, she gave us to... Yes. So
grandma owned a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. When we were looking for our own workshop. But I took you there now.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Can you explain it?
That's how our own workshop. After Dragon's Den and after Sewing Clothes in Lagos Island for 4 years, we decided to open our own workshop because at that point we had a business that was fairly functional and the tailors couldn't meet up anymore. Like, we're always now having to explain to customers why their clothes weren't ready or why there were errors on the clothes. We decided to open our own workshop. That, okay, you know what? We're going to buy 2 sewing machines. We get tailors so we could control our own production because the volume of orders we were getting, Lagos Island couldn't solve it anymore. You'd give clothes to a tailor and you'd say, come back next week. And when you go back there next week to pick up the order to deliver, that's when the guy is just cutting the item. And the customer has called you when you were on the way and you said, oh, don't worry, I'll be in your office before 4 p.m. After we suffered a couple of setbacks, we realized that, you know what, if we don't destroy this thing, it will destroy us. So we started looking for a workshop. Surprisingly, Tokwe's mother, who was always the one that said, "This, you people are wasting your time, you people are wasting your time." I think she was tired of saying you people were wasting your time, or she has started seeing the light. She was the one that gave us the space that we use as the first, as our workshop. Yeah, it was directly opposite their house. If you guys are looking for a workspace, you can use that place now. And I didn't even know she was the owner of that place at that point. So we opened it up, we looked at it. It was all done. They had tiled the floor, they had done everything. And I'm like, why do you have a place set up like this that you didn't use? She's like, she just has it. Anyway, so we went to Alaba, which was just across the road. Bought 2 industrial sewing machines, then we started looking for tailor. I think the first tailor we got was Ibrahim, one guy from the north. Very good, decent tailor. Guy was excellent. When we had our own workshop, I can almost say that the business doubled or quadrupled because at that point now, we could take an order on Monday and deliver on Tuesday because we had a tailor at home. So if we come to you, take your order, go home, max 3-4 hours, the item was ready. That accelerated our business. And we kept asking ourselves, why did it take us this long before we opened our own workshop? But of course, our workshop was in the middle of nowhere. It was in Iba Estate. All of our customers were either in Surulere, VI, or Ikoyi, or Ikeja. So we had to always travel to them. But at least we had destroyed that production problem that we had. And everything was moving on fine. And we just kept doing it. Then at some point, Ibrahim went to his village for Salah and never came back. Oh no, he came back. It was the second time that he went that didn't come back. And all of a sudden, we're back to sewing clothes in Lagos Island. And I'm like, no. Like, this one cannot work. So we looked for 2 other tailors, yeah?
Waheed and Kazim. Like, who are they?
Waheed and Kazim. Those guys were like the 2 tailors that were with us the longest, yeah. Waheed came from Lagos Island because, I mean, we used to frequent Lagos Island a lot. And all those nights where we leave Lagos Island by 11:30 p.m. because we are waiting for a tailor to finish a particular item because you have to deliver it to the customer first thing tomorrow. Somebody recommended a tailor to us. That was Waheed. It was a boy that came from Kwara, came to us in Lagos, and he could sew fantastic shirts. So we took him with us. That was a good one. Then at about that same time, I think it was like 2 weeks after Waheed started working with us, Kazim called me. Now, Kazim is the son of Alhaji J. Kappa, the person that taught me tailoring, the guy that formerly taught me tailoring. He came that day, and I can't really remember what the conversation was like, but long story short, the child said he wanted to work with me, and I was like, oh, no problem. And I knew he could sew jackets because his father was the only suit guy in Agbara at that point. Here we were with all the solutions to all of our problems. We had 2 tailors. One could sew shirts, one could sew trousers and pants. It was a beautiful time. At that point, everything was just running smoothly. Waheed was sewing trads, kaftans that we were making, and female items. Waheed would sew the shirt. Waheed was an expert shirt maker. Kazim was the suit guy. That was all we needed, really. I think the blessed part of it was that Kazim and Waheed were not like all the other tailors. Most tailors that would work with you back then, they had a set mindset. They knew. But Kazim, his mind was fresh. And moreover, he didn't learn tailoring formally. He just picked it up by hanging in his father's workshop. He was more open to new ideas and would develop new things like new designs, because I look at some of the things that people are doing now and I'm like, 12 years ago we'll do this one, and 10 years ago we'll do this one. We're doing pipe blazers, we're doing shawl lapel blazers, we're doing all sorts of things back then. There was nothing I could sketch that Kazim could not make, regardless of whatever design, regardless of how complicated it was that Tokwe made it. Waheed would do it. If Waheed can't do it, the combination of Kazim and Waheed will get it done. And we're just a fantastic team. And it was a great time. We're just doing it. So one day, Kazim left. Kazim, actually, if I'm ever going to write a book in my life, it will be an entire chapter. How you need to let people be. You need to let people grow into themselves. Because all my life, I felt like my life was to save Kazim from himself. Because when he started working with us, he was earning almost too much. I think it was less than 20, and his weekly salary then was between 15k to 20k. Even though I was paying him that much, it was still cheaper than the guys that I used to use in Lagos Island. And Kazim would close from the workshop on Friday, he'll go to Computer Village and buy a new phone. Then he will go home and he'll spend the rest of his money, and you won't see him for another 1 week. Yep. So in a month, Kazim would come to work maybe like just for 2 weeks. The other 2 weeks, he was nowhere to be found. Then when the orders had piled up and piled up and piled up, I'll get into my car, drive to his house in Badagry, and go and bring him back to work. So basically, because I remember on one occasion we're driving there and Tokwe was like, how long are we going to do this for? I was like, I don't know, man, but we need this guy. The guy good. So we'd go get him. We're practically forcing him to work. And Kazim only worked when he needed money. Once he doesn't need money like this, no, they work again. I think it was the second year or the first year of him working with us.
Wait, so Kazim left?
At the end of that year, so because I normally ask people that would meet, okay, so what are your life goals? What are your life plans? What do you want to do? And all of that. And then I asked Kazim, like, what do you want to do? And he was like, he wants to go to South Africa. I'm like, you want to go to South Africa? He said, yes. I'm like, what do you want to go in South Africa? He goes, I feel like that's where my destiny is, because if I don't go to South Africa, which I want to do for Nigeria, I can't be so enclosed for the rest of my life. So I said, well, if you want to go to South Africa, first you need a passport. That's the first step. And I was like, okay, you know what? We'll get you a passport. So that week, we had a groom and his best man that came to buy a black suit for their wedding. They came on a Monday. Yes, the groom and best man came on a Monday. On Tuesday, he made the best man's jacket. On Wednesday, he made the trouser for the best man and the trouser for the groom. On Thursday, he was supposed to make the groom's jacket. I think he had to do something for Tokwe. I think he had to do one jacket for one of Tokwe's customers that was an emergency. So he was supposed to make the groom's suit on Friday. But Friday, we had booked an appointment at the passport office. So I took him to the passport office on Friday. And the wedding was the next week, Saturday. Yes, there was a delay at the passport office. So for some reason, we were there all day. So somebody told me that, dude, you need to keep this guy on Saturday and make sure he finishes this jacket, because Kazim was mental. He just disappeared. But I don't know why I didn't listen to that voice. But when I think back now, everything happened for a reason. Anyway, so he goes, don't worry, first thing Monday morning, I'm going to come and finish the jacket, so we'll know that the wedding order is out of the way. And he never came back. He went. I didn't see him on Monday, and I didn't want to go to his house to go and get him again. I didn't see him on Tuesday. I kept telling myself he can go show on Wednesday, because he knows that because he was there when the groom came to the shop to place the order. I didn't see him on Thursday. That was when I said, problem. And at this point, the groom had already started burning my phone. I went to Lagos Island and I bought 2 black suits in the groom size and in the best man size. And I went back home, I altered the length of the trousers and I gave it to them. They took it, they were happy. But now I had spent more money on that wedding order than what they paid me. But I had to save face. And he didn't come back for another maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. And when he came back 3 weeks later, I still remember that day. I was in Tokwe's house. I was looking over the fence. And he just strolled into the workshop and he came to pack his things. He took his pattern, he took his this. And I was like, what did I ever do to this boy? At that point, I was at conflict with myself. That I offend this boy. What did I do? Why would somebody treat me like this? Like, I done everything possible. Now me even carry you, go do passport for you. Left me high and dry. Then next time you came is to pack your things. Anyway, then yes, his slip, the passport collection slip was with me. So he sends Wahid to tell me that he needs his passport collection slip. I give it to Wahid gives it to him, and that was it. I never saw him again for at that point we were married. Tokwe was pregnant, and because I remember that we went to Olumorok together, because I remember we have a picture. It was me, Kazim, and Tokwe in Olumorok. So she was already pregnant then. We had opened the store in Okwebi then. After Kazim left, I knew that I could almost not get anybody to replace him, because there was a level to the finish that he had that was practically almost unreplaceable, because no Nigerian that I know back then will go to that length. They're not really concerned about details like that. And because his father trained in London, so he had a different mindset. I mean, he had a different mindset. He had a different style of cutting. It was completely different. And when Kazim left, I knew that was the end of Made in Nigeria, because I had already started looking into producing abroad, because I wanted world class. I wanted world class finish, world class quality, world class tailoring, everything world class.